want to start this video with a quote. Roughly 72% of Americans have confidence in their ability to manage their finances, but only 47% feel they are financially stable. So a lot of people are saying they have confidence, but they're not actually stable. So there's a discrepancy here on what people feel and where they're actually at financially. And this is a staggering number, because even if you just take those who feel confident, that still leaves 28% who don't even feel confident. And I hope to be able to help some people with this, to feel some confidence. I've debated back and forth on how to start a channel, what to do, who to speak to. And a recent conversation reiterated to me that a lot of people don't have a strong financial backing, education, or resources. Perhaps they didn't have family that trained them. I look at my own past. I didn't have anyone that trained me how to do a budget. I was taught how to balance a checkbook. All I did there was make sure at the end of the month it was at zero, because that's where it ended up every month. I was kind of from the school of thought you pay your bills on time every month. You make sure things are paid, and that's a good budget. As long as things are paid on time, you're managing your money well. But what happens is you end up with a lot of stress, a lot of different things. So I decided I wanted to start this channel with a very basic, just talking about money, talking about investing is where I kind of want to get to. But in order to get to investing, we have to start with having money to invest. And that starts with some things that may seem like four-letter words to people. Some words people do not like. For example, budget. Budget is a big no-no word to a lot of people. It feels restrictive. It feels like it's going to keep you from doing the things you want to do. But you do need a budget. So we're going to talk about a few things, and that's what I want to kind of focus on today. And the key of this video today to get started and where we're going to move to is helping people learn how to manage their money. You have to manage your money. Money is going to be coming and going. And if you're not managing it, it's going. And you'll end up with very little at the end of the day, if anything. That's why there's so much $800 trillion in American consumer debt, because we live beyond our means. At the end of the month, we're at zero, but we still have some needs, or we have wants, and we put that on our credit card, or we have loans that we take out and we use the cash for things that have no intrinsic value beyond the experience. And so we have to get on these things. And I want to just talk briefly about four kind of overview topics that we'll go into deeper on the next four videos individually, maybe even multiple videos on some of them. And we'll deep dive further as we move on, and some people who maybe have further information, better knowledge about things, they may look at this video and be bored. Okay, click forward. Once I get some more stuff up there, we get into investing, talking about mutual funds, index funds, whether you're going in your 403, your Roth, your traditional IRA. We can get into all sorts of things. We can go deeper. But we can't get there if we don't know how to even save $100 a month to invest. So I'm going to start with the very basics, and we'll move forward. Hopefully you'll join me for the ride. Hopefully some of you will pass this forward to friends or people you know that maybe it could be useful. My goal is to provide solid information. I'm not going to be speculating. I'm not going to be trying to promote risky things. I'm going to be sharing some mistakes I've made. I'm going to be sharing some successes I've had, and I'm going to be sharing things that I believe are helpful by taking the slow and steady approach to managing your money, investing, and providing for a solid future. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit older, and if I could go back and tell my 25-year-old self something, I would tell him that you're going to be old quick. It is coming faster than I could have ever expected. There's some things I've been doing that kind of make me realize how much older I'm getting. The other day I was filling out something and I had to put my birth date in, and I couldn't just type it in. I had to click back each year. So I'm clicking back 2022, 2021, and I had to go all the way back to my birthday. It took a while, and it made me realize life has gone by fast. Every time I clicked that, I was like, that was a year, that was a year, that was a year. And it's just gone by so fast. And and we're here. I'm here. I'm 54 years old. I am here today. I can't go back to 25. You might be 25. Hopefully you'll get this early and do some things that me and others have messed up on. Some people who have started early and been very successful doing these things early on, they would probably tell you, yeah, do this now. Maybe you're 70. Maybe you're way past my age. And it's not too late to start. The worst thing to do is say tomorrow. Today's the day to get started. Making those small little incremental steps toward the financial freedom, the financial stability that we all kind of desire. I don't want to be rich. I'm not trying to play the market or speculate or day trade and see if I can, get an 80% return, or I'm not going to pump these videos up and be, hey, this is how I turned $1,000 into, $100,000 in 30 days. Go to Vegas if you want that. I don't care. This is the slow, steady approach. Things I've learned from others. I'll try to give credit to people on concepts and things I've learned from others. But I'm kind of nerding out on this stuff. This is what I do. I work out in the morning. I watch YouTube videos. I listen to podcasts. I read books about investing, finances, money. I like numbers. I'll make financial charts and Excel sheets and stuff just for myself because I like doing it, and it thrills me. Not everyone likes that. I want to do some of maybe the legwork for you and help you just implement basic stuff to make the progress you want to make. So let's look at a couple things here. 25% of people feeling confident but lacking stability. So there's a gap in what people know and what people are doing. So that's where some of the things we'll talk about. Okay, you know these things, we got to put them into practice. But even those who don't know, we go to school, the school systems, there's a new program every year. No Child Left Behind, 4th grade reading, guarantee, whatever they call it. There's always a new program, a new initiative to make sure our kids can read. I mean, that's important. Literacy is important. But financial literacy is almost shunned upon. We teach economics, or we have people teaching it who are teaching speculative things, or teaching it's okay to have debt and putting people in debt, and you can't live without a credit card, and all these types of things that really aren't fact. There are some things that I'm not a dogmatic person with these. There's some things that, you may have to do some things we don't like at times. But financially, there are ways to do the things that give you the freedom you're looking for. Whether you're trying to initiate financial independence, retire early when you're 30, or you're trying to do it when you're 50, or you just want to retire when you're 65 and know that you can take care of yourself, your spouse, your medical bills are paid for, that you don't have to worry if I'm going to end up in my kid's basement when I'm 75 years old, or if I'm going to not have the money to take care of my bills and I'm going to have to do something maybe I don't want to do with that time. We want independence. Financial independence simply means you get to do what you want when you want. Doesn't mean you don't have to work. Doesn't mean you may get to do something you enjoy. So we're going to be looking at a lot of different topics through different videos, and really be busting out some of these things. So you'll see me looking up. The other thing I debated on how to do these videos, like do I want to make them all professional, have all these slideshows and all this graphics and stuff, and that's just not me. I'm just a sit down chat type person. I've spent lots of years doing teaching, presentations, and I've always been a very casual, just kind of talking type person. I don't feel there's anything wrong with the very professional, well done, very creative mode. I'm just not that person. So this isn't going to be for everyone. There's going to be people that watch this who are like, I don't like this guy. He doesn't look very professional. Look at him, he's wearing a t-shirt and hat. What's he know? And take it for what it is. I'm just going to try to be as real as I can. I'm going to try to keep as anonymous as I can. Obviously, you can see who I am, but I'll give some personal information without giving too much up of myself and my family. But there are some things that I think can be good life lessons that I've experienced, and my wife and I have experienced, and our kids have experienced. So let's talk about these 4 things very quickly, and we'll kind of wrap up this initial video. just kind of talking about these 4 things that we need to deep dive. To even get started, I want to get us to investing. I want to get us to where our money is working for us. Isn't it great to be able to wake up? Those of you who are there, those of you that have got there, to wake up and you look in your bank account and there's a payment, whether it's from a dividend or some other source of income that's happening passively. Maybe it's $100 a month, maybe it's $1,000 a month, whatever that may be. You didn't do anything for that other than took the effort in advance to get that money working for you. And so that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. So in order to get there, 1, we need to budget. In order to manage your money, you have to have a budget. Those that have never had a budget and simply follow the I pay my bills on time, hopefully, a large number of people, I forgot what the statistic I just read was, are 90 days or more late on a bill or multiple bills. So we're not even getting the pay the bills on time portion. But we have to budget our money. It's basically telling your money what it's going to do. I have $1,000 and this is what I want it to do. I'm not going to just let it do whatever. I have a job for it. Some of it's going to pay for the food I need to eat. Some of it's going to pay for the transportation I need. I have to figure out what that is. And we're going to go into how to create a decent budget. There's lots of different tools. Whether you're old school like me, I still like the ledger, handwriting it. They got the apps on your phone. Just depends what you like and what you're good with, what you're going to use. Doesn't matter how sophisticated or unsophisticated something is. If you don't use it, it won't work. So let's look at some different scenarios, some different things. But in order to get a budget, we have to spend some time and look and see what are we actually spending our money on. That's why I like doing the charts and stuff, my geeking out, nerding out in the charts. I like seeing, oh, I spent 32% of my money on this, or I spent X number of dollars on these things. Whether you're doing if I cut out a cup of coffee a day at Starbucks, I can save X number of dollars over 30 years. I like doing those things to see how much am I spending, because it's not just what am I spending today, it's how much could that money have earned over the next 10, 20, 30 years if I hadn't spent it on this. So I've not only lost the $5 that I spent today, I've lost the $5 I spent today and the interest that it has earned and could have earned for 30 years or whatever time frame we look at. And you'd be surprised at how much some of that adds up. And we'll look at some of those things. Sometimes that's motivation for people to quit a habit that they've been struggling with, whether it's cigarettes or going out to eat or whatever it may be. And I'm not here to dog you on whatever those are and what you're spending your money on, just to show you that sometimes that can be an incentive. Like, hey, maybe I don't need that new pair of shoes every other week and add to my collection or whatever it might be. We can go through. You have to decide. If something brings you joy and you can fit it in your budget, go for it. I'm not here to tell you what to spend your money on. I'm here to show you and explain the impact it has and whether you want to follow through with that impact or not. So having a budget is huge importance. It is actually the most liberating thing I ever did. My wife and I had somebody kind of help sit us down one time and showed us that. Like I said, we had always paid our bills on time. I'd never been late for bills, but I was overextending as a young father and husband. We were spending more than we should have. We were accumulating a little bit of consumer debt on credit cards, car notes and things of that nature. Some of it, you'd say, well, you need these things, but some of it we could have definitely avoided. And I made sure I paid my bills every month, but there was times it was super stressful because I was like, oh crap, this bill's coming due. I don't have that much in. I had to do some finagling and make sure it happened, and it took a lot of stress. And so having a budget was liberating because it removed stress. It helped me avoid mistakes like, oh, I forgot, my tax bill comes in twice a year. I forgot because I didn't budget. I don't pay it every month. That's every 6 months. It surprised me. There's a big whammy too. That's not just like I forgot about this subscription that cost me $10. These sometimes can be big surprises if we're not planning. It helps us plan not only for day-to-day, month-to-month budgeting, helps us plan for if we want to take a vacation or we need a new car or we need something or we want to go do something fun. And it eliminates the guilt. My wife was real good about conserving money. We were one income young family. I was in a nonprofit career, so there wasn't a large income. We were in a very restrictive budget. Weren't flowing in the dough. She found a lot of ways to save money. One of the things she did was she didn't spend a lot. She guilted herself over things like she'd find something she liked. It'd be like $1. She'd be like, I don't know, and then maybe it'll go on sale or something. And very restrictive. I'm appreciative of this because we were in a very tight financial place. But when we got on a budget, we were able to put money aside, whether it was for her to go do some shopping for herself or the boys, whatever it may be. She knew we have X number of dollars in this for that. So you don't have to feel guilty. Yes, we have the money because it says right there it's for Christmas gifts, it's for birthday gifts, it's for clothing, it's for school supplies, whatever it may be. We had the money and we set those things aside. Now, if we didn't have the money, we had to say, nope, we can't. Maybe we're going to not go out to eat this month or this week or whatever the case may be, or we want to do this instead. We can rearrange some of our budget, but we had to make sure we were taking it from something it could be taken from and not just, oh, well, we're going to spend this. So there's a lot of liberation in that, and we'll get into that further when we get into that topic on probably the next video will be the budgeting, because you got to start with the budget to get anywhere else. Number 2 is debt. If you don't have a budget, you will certainly end up in debt. If you're not already there. If you're there, this isn't a guilt trip. Hey, I'm not here to make you feel guilty about the debt. I'm here to help you find a plan to get out of that debt. A friend of mine told me a couple months back, he said, I'm so tired of working just to pay off my debt. And we were talking about ways to help him get out of debt and to invest in his future. And that is one of the things I'd like to do is help you. If you're in debt, hey, you're in the right place. This is what these types of channels. I'm not the only guy. Trust me. I've watched other videos. I just hope to bring a different perspective, an encouraging perspective that helps somebody. So a budget will help you keep out of debt and get you out of debt. Albert Einstein, who we don't really think of when it comes to money and finances, we always think of his scientific genius and all this, but he made a very interesting comment one time. The quote says, "Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." That's exactly why when you go to the big cities, the names on all the buildings that you'll see, banks. You see banks, banks, banks. Why? Because they're the ones lending you money on compound interest, and they are the ones that understand it and are earning the compound interest. That's how they can afford those gigantic buildings with all their names on it. That's what we want to do, is we want to get a better understanding of compound interest, how it works against us, but also how it works for us. I hate compound interest when I'm paying it, but I absolutely love compound interest when it's paying me. And that's the most amazing thing, is when you watch your money earn money, and that money that you earn money, and it continues to snowball and grow, and that's a wonderful thing. That's why it feels like when you make the minimum payment on your credit card that you're never making progress, because that's exactly what they want. They want you to continue to pay them over and over and over again, so that $1,000 item at the end of the time that you've paid it cost you $1,500, $1,800. Yeah, I got it on sale. I went down to Best Buy and they had this new jumbo TV I wanted. It was on sale, 25% off. And you put it on your Best Buy credit card at 22% interest. And in 5 years you paid it off. You didn't save 25%. Instead of paying $1,000 at full market price, you got it for $750. But when you paid your credit card off, you actually paid $1,300 for it. See? You lost. They got the compound interest. They were like, yeah, we'll put it on sale. Here, we got an easy financing for you. It's easy because it keeps them rolling in the money. So we'll look at debt, how it works for you and against you. And we'll get into that in another video. Number 3, savings. We have to get a little bit of savings. So part of the first thing we'll talk about in the budget is how to set aside a little bit of savings. Listen to this statistic. As of January this year, 2023, there was a report that shows 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved. It doesn't take much nowadays in your car or your house or your medical to need $1,000. And over half of Americans don't have $1,000 saved. That's why we go in debt. Because when we need money for something, we don't have it, we got to get it. These are necessities. I need the medical. I need the house fixed. I need the car fixed so I can go to work to make the money. These become necessities. And if we don't have the money set aside and plan for these unexpected, we have to just get that in your head. I'm going to say that a lot. Plan for the unexpected. The unexpected will happen. And we take the unexpected and they become inconveniences instead of catastrophes. Because when we don't have the money, we go into debt, and now that is becoming a stress emotionally, financially, marriage-wise. That relationally, that's one of the killers of relationships is the financial stresses. So we have to avoid some of these things. We're going to talk about how to get some savings set aside for the emergency. Then we're going to get talking about how to get some savings aside for the bigger things like losing your job or being out of work for a while. I'll get the book for when I get into that section that I read. I remember reading the guy talked about having some FU money. Sorry if I offend anybody, but he talked about having FU money, meaning you're not going to treat me like crap because I have the money to be able to survive without this job until I get something that's better. And that's a good feeling. It's a nice feeling knowing that, yeah, I'd like to have a job. I'd like to be working. I'd like to be adding to my future. But the good thing is I'm not going into debt because I was prepared for something. So we'll get into some of that, how to build up that cushion and how to plan. The last thing is investing. And that's kind of what I really want to focus this entire channel on is there's so much misinformation about investing. I don't want to say people's names. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I've talked to 2 people that are very close to me that are investing. They're part of their workforce. One is a 403B and one's a 401k. Both of them, when we were talking, I was like, oh, so where's your money invested? They're like, at work. And I was like, oh, what kind of, do you know the funds that you have? And they're like, I don't know. One was like, I think it's with Fidelity. I'm like, we'll get into this. But Fidelity is like the cookie jar. That's where your money is being kept. Now, what kind of cookies are in there? Are you in stocks? Are you in CDs? Is it in a savings money market? What's the money invested in? We'll get into that more in the investing. But listen to this. 1 in 3, 33% of Americans have zero invested in retirement. And another 23% less than 10K. So that's 56%. Again, over half of Americans have less than $10,000 saved toward retirement. And a lot of people, especially older people, maybe about 10, 15 years older than me, a lot of them had the pensions. You may have a job, whether you're a teacher, federal worker, military, you may have a pension. That's great. We'll get into some of that as well. But more and more companies have gone away. There's no pension. That's the whole reason 401ks were invented and brought about. The 401k is your way of saving toward your retirement to help pay for that. You say, well, how much do I really need? We'll get into some of that scenario type stuff. But the average Social Security payment now with the new 8% bump that we got in 2023 is $1,827 a month, $1,827 a month, or around $22,000 a year. That's the average. That means there's people much lower than that, and there's people that are higher than that. Don't forget there's a cap on how much you can get from Social Security. So some people are at the top level, it's maxed out. And that's fine. They may be getting $3,000 a month, and they may have a spouse getting $3,000 a month, and they're doing fine. But the vast majority of people are between about $1,500 and $2,000 a month. That's $22K a year, give and take, depending where you fall in that. Now, listen, the average this is where I'd be, I need to edit this video, I'm going to splice, and we're going to make this professional. Nope, I messed up, so we're going to just keep rolling, and you're going to get to hear it. So the average retirement expense is $4,345 a month, or roughly $52,000 a year. Okay, so you don't have to be a math genius. I like math. Math kind of makes me giggly. I like math. $52,000 a year is what the average expense is, $22,000 is what the actual average Social Security is. A lot of people say, well, I'll have Social Security when I retire, I'll be okay. You'll be okay if you want to live on less than half of the average cost of a retirement. So you have to come up with, on average, $2,500 a month to fill that gap. Now, there's a lot of other numbers we could look at, and I'll throw some charts up on other videos. I'm not going to get into all that today. Just basic bottom line is there's a gap between how much the average person will get from Social Security and how much the average person will spend in retirement. And then we have to look at the other thing. Do you want to just retire and survive? Do you just want to retire and make it, scrape by? If you have to, again, this isn't a guilt trip. I get that. There's a lot of circumstances that put us in that place. But if you're able and you can plan and you can budget and you can look forward and manage your money early and wisely into the future, you don't have to just survive in retirement. You can go into a retirement where you are prepared to enjoy those years of slowing down. Whether you work part-time just to keep your mind sharp, or you don't work at all and you just enjoy the grandkids or in your hobbies. Maybe you're a golfer and you want to finally, get out there 3 or 4 times a week, or whatever the case may be. That you can do those things if you want. Everyone's retirement's going to look different. We'll do some videos just on retirement. I'm not there yet. I have some plans and things I'd like to do. So it kind of depends on where I'm at. When do I want to retire? Do I want to work some part-time jobs? Look at some of those things. So that's the basics. Bottom line is there's a financial illiteracy in our country. We can help each other get better. We can look at ways of being wise. We have a lot of things that we have to look at, and we're just going to do some videos over and over, adding little bits and pieces. I hope you'll watch some of these maybe pass on to people. If you're more advanced and you're great at budgeting, but maybe you're not good with debt. Maybe you just want to jump into when we get to the investing portions. Maybe you want to talk about the single stocks versus index funds and what are expense ratios, what's a beta in a stock or ETF. What are those things? And we'll get into a lot of those. I'm, again, not wanting to start out above anyone. I want to start out with the very basics, because when all these are loaded up, all the videos get published, you can just jump to the ones that are more of interest to you. But for those who need to start on step 1, we have to start with understanding money. People say, well, money's not the most important thing. No, it's not. But you need money. You need money. You have money, whether it's coming in big chunks or small chunks. And don't feel like this is only for people who don't make a lot of money. There's people who make over $100K who can't pay a $1,000 discretionary bill. They're just not prepared for it because they're maxed out. So it's not about how much you make. It's about how much you save. And that's what we're going to focus on, is managing our money. Take control of your money. Be in control of your future, of your life. I'm not talking about not enjoying life today. You only live once mentality either, where you spend it all today and then your retired older self is looking to your kids saying, I need help, or you're living in a state that you don't want to live in. So we're going to balance enjoying life today and planning for the future. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope it's the type of content you're looking for, and I hope to make some improvements as I go along. Maybe I'll get some fancy graphics and stuff, but we're just going with this is who I am, having a conversation with you, and hopefully we'll start getting some feedback and get questions from you, and I can answer questions. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I do have an MBA. I have spent lots of time studying and learning about finances, but I would always recommend getting professional advice if you're unsure. I hope to give you some basics to start understanding, even when you go to the professionals, what to ask them. So with that, we're out. We'll talk to you soon.